Question everything. For the truth should not be televised, and that's for sure. So with that, bust it. When it comes to the border so-called crisis, is it really the problem with the border when it comes to the citizens of America and the Aboriginal Negroes of America? Is it the problem with the border? Is it the problem with resources? Is we having a problem with resources, or are we having a problem with people actually coming to better their lives? These are some of the questions that need to be answered. Because when you look at the circumstances, it's not necessarily any problem with people that's struggling to survive and trying to find a better life. If anybody understands struggling and being impoverished, nobody understands that better than the Aboriginal Negro of America. You know, when you think about impoverished, slavery, you know, Jim Crow laws, the different lynchings, the massacres, the holocausts that we've been through, we understand what it means to be oppressed, demonized, and put through, hella atrocities that you can possibly imagine and can't imagine, because it can get Saw-like, horrific movie-like when it comes to what has happened to my people here under this government in this United States of what we call America. So when we look at the immigrants coming over here, as Aboriginal Negroes of America, we have a long history of helping immigrants settle in America. Just unbelievable history. Pretty much when you look around and you think about the Latinos when they first got here, or the Asians when they first got here, you name it, we always put boots on the ground to be able to get out and help them in a sense of protesting, in the sense of boycotting, in the sense of trying to get them established in and around our communities as well as around America, to be able to have some type of equality when it comes to dealing with the dominant race that took over America. Because if we didn't do that, then a lot of them fell in the same boats of the same type of hatred that we was dealing with. And since we was already dealing with it, all we did was take them under our wing and go out and put boots on ground and, try to nullify that attack that was happening to these different groups that was coming into America, so that way they can be able to get some type of resources, housing, benefits, some type of equality to be able to coexist in America. And we definitely, as Aboriginal Negroes of America, have a strong history of doing that. You can look it up yourself, check out some of the different things that we have done here in America when it comes to just swaying the dominant race here at this time when it comes to resources, from actually attacking or demonizing other immigrants coming into the country. We put a lot of boots on ground and a lot of effort into really helping these people out. So it's never about trying to demonize or stop anyone from trying to uplift themselves and better themselves and their family when it comes to the actual reality of coming to America and looking for a better life. That's a beautiful thing. The problem is resources. Not having enough resources for the people coming in. That's the basis of the government. That's the basis of the wealthy and the rich who control the government, who control the resources, who are only giving bare minimum to the Aboriginal Negroes of America and their community. And because of it, bringing other nations or other immigrants into our community without those resources cause conflicts and problems. We already impoverished, living in ghetto slums and hoods, barely making it on a day-to-day basis. And because of it, trying to do survival work, they call it crime, we call it survival work, because that's what it is. We're trying to survive, and in turn, they criminalize us and then mass incarcerate us more than anybody in the whole entire world. And it's all stemming from all the things that we've been through here in America and been under, based off of us still being with our oppressors' children, who inherited and maintaining our suffering through oppression. We know this because they haven't tried to give us reparations yet in the form of what they came here and took from us, which was land and money, land and wealth. That's what the whole basis of them coming to America, finding the Aboriginal Negroes in the wilderness of North America was all about. Land and money, taking the land and then establishing themselves to be wealthy, powerful, and pretty much the dominant country and in the world at this time up till the rivals they have today. And this is just the reality. So whenever you think about reparative justice, it gotta be the same inkling of what they have done. It gotta be a mirror image of what they came to get. And that's money and land. Without money, you can't mechanize the land. And without land, you can't liberate yourself from the people that came to oppress you and destroy your nation. You need both in order to rebuild yourself back into a better place from what you've been traumatized under for so long as a nation of people. And that's where we at as Aboriginal Negroes of America. So it's not the problem of others coming to the country, it's the resource problem that's not being distributed fairly or equally because the wealthy and the rich are controlling it. And they're controlling it to the Aboriginal Negroes' demise. And that's the problem. And in turn, bringing other nations into the country, and they're siding with the dominant race instead of the people that been putting boots on ground to get the benefits and the resources and economic growth for all. Instead of siding with them, you're siding with the dominant race that controls the resources, who is demonizing and put out a system that crushes certain individual nations. Is really a sad reality. Because at the end of the day, it's like we put boots on ground to get emancipated or proclamated into this new nightmare that we are under, with some form of benefits, with some form of rights that we ain't have because they took our rights when they took our land. And then we put boots on ground to get that distributed to other nations that was willing to come here to feel this so-called freedom that we don't really get, because we the most mass incarcerated people in the world, based off of being impoverished, based off of the attacks that has happened to our communities and to our people through massacres, genocide, and Holocaust from the dominant race, the colonizers who took this land. And because of it, we've been impoverished for hundreds of years now based off of this reality. Yes, they'll let a few of us in, because they gotta let a few of us in order to give you the delusion that everything is equal, everything is okay. But it'll never be equal, because a person that comes to destroy you will never ever empower you. And that's just the real reality. So if they can show you bare minimum of our people being rich, bare minimum of our people being in the suburbs, then they can market that to everybody else as if our nation as a whole is doing good, when in all retrospect, it's the opposite of that, always have been the opposite of that. In order to control the narrative, because they have political power over us, they push this narrative as if we all are doing all right and it's just our fault, the ones that ain't doing okay, which is a bold-faced trick and a lie to keep y'all from knowing the truth, that they haven't really gave us anything at all. We always had to pull ourselves up by bootstraps when we first came out of Emancipation Proclamation. And when we came into that crap, they didn't give us nothing to be able to survive off. So it always been this trick. So all we ask is, if you're going to come here, help us get justice. Help us continue to get the resources we need in order to be able to govern our communities as well. Just as much as we helped y'all coming into the country to be able to feel any form of freedom, any form of benefits, based off of our push to make it this way. Because they wasn't trying to have it this way. They had black and white water. You couldn't roam around and do anything that y'all doing today. You couldn't even sit on anywhere on the bus. You couldn't even go to certain places. Even right now, they got sundown towns. If you don't know what a sundown town, look it up. But we had to go through all this to make it so that way some of us can move around, in the sense of all of y'all being able to have better opportunity than us, even though we was the ones who put boots on ground to make it happen. So now we're looking for reparations. We're looking for liberation. In order to get liberation, we need reparations, which is consisted of money and land, in order to separate from the inheritors who have inherited and are maintaining our oppression. And that's the only way us as a nation of people going to be able to get out of the death culture that they are marketing and pushing on our babies and on our people on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour, minute-to-minute, year-to-year, week-to-week, programming.